whack ass. All right, anyway, I'm going to cough. One sec. Look what you're doing to me, Bertha. You're killing me. Get impregnated by their own son. Either he sets boundaries or I set him free. Ooh. Welcome to the neighborhood. Yes, that's a good question. Isn't it funny the call was coming from inside the house? That's why it means so much to you, because it's the first 12 inches you've ever received on your property. Can I get an amen?
Hi, can I order tea and 2 sugars, please?
Hello guys and welcome back to Tea and 2 Sugars. I am Tatty, your host, who have been, after our Halloween episode, revived from the dead. Last week, I kid you not, my little honeysuckle buns, I was so ill. I often see on people's stories, they say, I've been bedbound so ill, and I'm like, I never get ill to the point where I'm bedbound. I can always troop on. There was no trooping. Trooping was off last week. As you can probably tell by the sound of my voice still, I feel like I'm Phoebe Buffay, you know, and she's like all sexy and she's got a sexy man voice. That's what's happening in today's episode. I could not put off filming another week for you because otherwise I would miss an episode, and I'm just not about to miss any episodes. So here we are. You'll have to deal with my sexy man voice for this week, but it feels so good to be back. We've got a fun little episode today, guys. As you know, we always start with my boiling point and my 2 sugars. However, I just wanted to kick off today's episode with a little giveaway. To celebrate kicking off season 2 with our gorgeous new sets and gorgeous new vibes, I have a new little character to introduce you to. If you just turn your eyes stage right for me, this is Tina the Teabag. Welcome her to the show. She is new here. She's a little bit more sophisticated. She's a little bit more angelic than Joe. It's like I've got my angel and my devil here. Joe is sat by the table and Tina is on this little shelving unit up here. And as a little thank you for all of the support, you guys know I love to give back. I actually have a little giveaway for you. Tina is quite I think she's limited edition, maybe a rare jelly cat. They only launched in like small stores. However, I managed to get my hands on 2. My best friend bought me 1 as a present, and then I just thought, you know, I was going to go and try and get one anyway for the pod, but why not get one for you guys? So if you want to get your hands on a super little rare jelly cat, a little Tina. She's actually called Steepy, but I preferred the name Tina the Teabag, you know. If you do want to be in the chance of winning, make sure to go and follow us over on TikTok. Give this episode a little rating. If you want to, guys, we've launched on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to go and head over and listen on there, it really does help support. We actually charted in the top 30 on Spotify, and I would love to get over and chart on Apple Podcasts as well. So if you want to give us a little love over there, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, great. However, if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, please do consider heading over to Apple Podcasts because I'm quite competitive here. So yeah, give us some love everywhere. I will be posting a TikTok video. Please make sure to leave your @ there. That's how I will get in contact with you. If you are a winner, you'll win little Tina, and there'll be some other little bits that I am going to pop in the giveaway as well as a little thank you. Anyway, my boiling point and my 2 sugars this week. First of all, I'm going to start with my boiling point because I was literally just telling Isla about this before we got started. So yesterday I went down to London. I had an event, which first of all, I thought the event was in Manchester up until 3 a.m. the night before because I've been working at Screenfest still. So I hopped on my train, got down there. I started getting travel sick. Don't know what that's about. So I was feeling a little ill on the train home. Then when I pulled into the car park in the morning, it was said free pass. And I thought, thank you. It's very kind. And so I was going to pull out the car park and I thought, here we go. Free car parking. No, Barry didn't fucking move, did it? So then I booped the little boop on the sign and called NCP, who didn't answer for 15 minutes. Now, here's the thing, ladies. I feel like you'll hear me on this one. I don't really want to be in a car park on my own in the dark for longer than I actually need to walk to my car. So to be sat there with no one around was a little intimidating. Finally answered. I basically then had to walk back to the train station. They charged me for a day pass on the car parking, Paid that. Then the ticket is going in and out, printing ticket. And I thought, oh, it's going a little bit longer. It's really dragging it out. The ticket then said, seek assistance. At this point, ladies, I am feeling sick. I am in my luteal phase. I am due on my period at any moment. I don't want to have to seek assistance. I just want to go home. So said man who I have sought assistance from looks at me as if I am some dumb fucking idiot who can't work a payment machine. Anyway, I then go to a woman, she'll get it. And then I got home and it was all fine. So that's my boiling point, just like that whole scenario. My two sugars. My first sugar, I am loving Abbott Lion this week. I've got some earrings in from there. I have obviously my necklace. I think I showed you guys. Did I have Abbott Lion as my sugar a week ago? I can't remember. Anyway, if I did, I'm still loving them. Really, really liking their bits. I have a gorgeous watch, which I haven't got on today. I meant to put it on and then I was just leaving the house and just didn't do that. Because why would I? Yeah, really enjoying their bits at the minute. And they do bags now. I bought a bag from there. Genuine leather. Genuine leather. I don't have a code, but Rachel Leary does. I think it's Rachel. Yeah, so go check that out. I think I have had it as a sugar before because I said about buy one, get one free. Yeah. And then my second sugar. So working at Screenfest, basically. I feel like have I mentioned this before? In my cast last year, there was an amazing young man called Keaton, and he was just like such a ball of energy. He was such a lovable fool, like the best handful ever. He was just a little light. Anyway, he passed away sadly in a car accident at the start of the year. And Keaton always used to make us chocolate concrete, like chocolate crunch last year. And we never felt it was like appropriate to ask his family for the recipe. But they came at the weekend and they gave us the recipe for the chocolate concrete. And oh my God, it just tastes so good. I sat in the tech room. They bought us like 5 trays of it, bless them. And I sat and had like 4 slices. And I was like, I really need to go and do my job now, but this is just so good. So yeah, chocolate concrete is my second sugar. We have some bangers today. We've got a lot of mother-in-law drama, some weird next-door neighbours, and of course, a whole load of Steve and Amy's causing some shit. I've started leaving polls down below for you guys to like get involved in and add your thoughts to. I always love reading your comments as well. So let us get on to our first story of the day. Okie dokie, our first story of the day is titled, I got the hey girly text the morning of my wedding. Story time. So I woke up to a girl DMing me on my actual wedding, not the week before, not the month before, a couple of hours before I was supposed to walk down the aisle. I didn't wake up with jitters or cold feet. I genuinely thought that this day my biggest obstacle would have been whether or not my hair was going to last in the weather. But I was wrong because I opened my phone the moment I wake up and I realised I had a DM from an account from this beautiful girl that told me that she hadn't realised that my Steve was engaged. Nope. Not for me, unfortunately. Sorry. Which was a lie, but I'm just glad that she did in fact tell me. I'm not sure why she would lie about not knowing, but whatever. She also proceeded to send me photos of proof of them pretty much kissing and making out the entire time on his stag do. Like, if you feel the need that you need to have one last night of freedom, you shouldn't be getting married. I didn't even have a bachelorette trip myself because I just think it's plain stupid. She then proceeds to send me text messages of him saying that I would never find out. She clearly knew from that he was in fact engaged, which is crazy because this man never gave me a single red flag. I had no inkling that he would ever cheat on me. I was completely blindsided. Or maybe I'm just an idiot. Hey, listen, these men, they move clever, all right? I don't know how, I don't know why, but these men are crazy. I don't know, I just never ever saw this coming. Like, if you're gonna cheat on me on your trip, like if you're gonna cheat on her on your bachelorette, on your bachelor trip, you've probably done it before. Like, and to be texting afterwards, it's such a thing to obviously have like sexual times, I guess, but then to text and conversate afterwards. What do you guys think is worse? Emotional, like being in love with someone, or just having sex with them? I don't know. Because at least if it's just sex, it's just like, it's not just physical, but you know what I mean? Like yeah. However, to love someone, that takes time. You know what I mean? You've got to fall for that person. You've got to get to know the things that you do actually love about them. Anyway. So at that point, I grab my best friend and my girl is like, okay, are we running? What are we going to do? So I tell her to put me in my dress and we head to the wedding. I was going to expose this man. Now, don't get me wrong. As soon as this man started going on in his vows, they were completely beautiful. And I would have believed every single word if I hadn't have had a face on me the whole time. Because pretty much right there and then, during the vows, I was ready to expose him in front of our entire family. I told him I don't have words to express how I feel. So I've made a little presentation. Boom. That was when the projector screen came down behind us. I had made a whole slideshow of all the photos and all the text messages that lovely girl had sent me that morning. I told him that he became a complete stranger to me. I didn't know how long he'd been manipulating me for, but this was the last day and it all ended here. I had this look on my face that felt so powerful. I told him, you clearly don't care about me because you're trying to marry me after you did all of this. I would never have done anything like that to you. And the fact that this has happened this morning, now I get to celebrate that I have dodged an absolute bullet. I looked to all of our family and friends and told them that everything was paid for. We'd still be going on with the party. Turned back and told him, except to you, you're an NFI. All of this is just absolutely so wild. I've never ever been the type of girl to go through anyone's phone. I'm just going to trust you unless you give me a reason not to. Clearly, I was just completely madly in love with him. And he was so madly in love with himself. Now, the cliche thing is that things have to fall apart so they can fall back together, right? I don't know if that was the fact that I was on this mad revenge arc, but I decided to go travelling afterwards on our honeymoon trip. I'd always wanted to go to Europe and I wasn't going to let this man waste my time and hold me back any further. So there I am in Italy having the time of my life. And I decided that I was going to get out there after everything that happened on my wedding. I thought I'll just have a little bit of fun because I never used to have fun before. I was so dedicated to being the best partner. So it's truly a situation of don't let your husband stop you from finding the love of your life, because this is where I met this amazing American man who I am now engaged to, and we are due to be married very, very soon. Oh, well, I'm glad that you managed to turn it all around and get a hot, sexy American man. I'm assuming you're American yourself from the bachelor party. Someone once told me stop doing an American accent, so I'm so sorry about that. Well, listen, everything happens for a reason, and thank God she texted you the morning of the wedding. I wonder if she knew that it was your wedding, or whether she was just like, I should probably tell that girl now, or whether she still had Steve on the socials, and Steve's like, last night before I get hitched on his story. I don't know why, but men's stories, like, unless it's your business, they give me the ick. I don't know why. Why are you posting on your story? Stories, Instagram stories, they're for the girls. Am I right? I feel like I'm right there. Anyway, I'm so glad that you found your forever man. And let's do a little bit of a background check on him before we get married, all right? Because we can't be doing this hey girly thing twice, you know? I wish you a beautiful wedding and a happy, healthy marriage. Love you. All right, I feel like it's been a short period of time now where we've not had these whack ass mother-in-laws. Whack ass is my new favourite thing because whack ass is so fun to say. Let's all say it together, kids. Whack ass. Whack ass. Whack ass. All right, anyway. Hi, Tati. This is the craziest story ever. I believe that my mother-in-law is trying to ruin my marriage. Story time. So, I believe my mother-in-law has been sabotaging my relationship like it is a full-time job. This girl deserves an Oscar for the level of manipulation she has pulled here. So I met Steve when I was 24. He is the biggest golden retriever green flag guy ever. He says yes, ma'am, to everyone. We hit it off instantly. And I really did think that this man could do absolutely no wrong. And the problem here is that he hasn't done anything wrong, but his mother has. Mother is not mothering. From day one, Bertha treated me like I was some kind of threat to her throne. At our first family dinner together, when I met her, she looked me dead in the eye and said, I just hope you're not one of those girls that's going to try and change a man. What is that supposed to mean, Berthie? What is it? Change a man? Ma'am, I just met your son. I'm not trying to change him. I'm just trying to survive your passive-aggressive dinner, okay? Anyway, things started to escalate very, very quickly after this dinner. Steve and I got very serious quickly. We moved in together, and the minute we started talking about marriage, this woman hit the fan and became a true nightmare. She called me behind his back to say, sweetheart, I don't think you're ready for this kind of responsibility that comes with being in this family. Ew, what? I was like, she's calling her son, saying like, what? But what type of responsibility? You're not the fucking mafia, Bertha. We're not taking out job roles. What type of responsibility have I got here? I don't want any responsibility. I just want to date your son because he's brilliant. Is that an issue? It's actually a testament to you, Bertha, that you've done such a spectacular job. I'm going to cough. One sec. Look what you're doing to me, Bertha. You're killing me. It's a compliment, Bertha. Take the compliment. Anyway, behind the back as well. If you're so confident, say it in the group chat, Berthie. Sweetheart. It didn't stop there. Oh God, fast forward to my pregnancy. I believe that some mothers would birth their own son's child if they were allowed to. And that sounds bizarre, but I see some things, on TikTok, forced to be your lover, forced to be your mother, born to be your lover. What? So anyway, I'm pregnant. She completely ruined the birth of our first child. Obviously, I'm in labour, screaming through contractions, and guess who strolls into the delivery room uninvited? Welcome to the room, Bertha. She announces herself like she's the star of this show. She's saying, my baby's coming, my baby's coming. This is what I'm saying. I just kicked the microphone. This is what I'm saying. They would get impregnated by their own son if they were allowed to. Do you understand? They would have sexual intercourse and mate with their own son if that was a possibility for them. I fear this is what Bertha would like from this situation. How did she even get into the room? Like, can we not be suing the hospital over this rando woman has just walked into this sterile, calm environment? So anyway, get this. When our daughter was born, I look over to see Steve holding her for the first time. Oh, no way. Instead of seeing Steve, Bertha is holding my child. She literally snatched the baby from the nurse before I even saw her. I was so out of it, I genuinely thought I was hallucinating. That moment has haunted me for months. That is such an invasion of privacy, wants. The child needs skin to skin, right? These women scare me. And as if that wasn't enough, she started playing Steve and me against each other. Why? Surely you just want your son to be happy. Stop trying to ruin things. Oh, she was playing this full psychological game. She'd call him saying that I was keeping the baby from her or that I didn't appreciate how much she does for the family, which is wild because the only thing she has ever done is show up uninvited and stress me out. One day, Steve comes home all quiet and acting strange. I ask what's wrong and he goes, Mum said you'd called her manipulative and banned her from seeing the baby. Excuse me, I never said that. But when I checked her messages, she literally texted herself fake screenshots pretending to be me. She had created an entire fake conversation just to prove that I was the villain here. Like, who even does that? This is effort. I fear Bertha needs to get a job. It all came to a head when she accidentally told me Steve had thought about leaving after the baby was born. Something he never said, by the way. When I confronted him on this, he finally admitted that she's been calling him multiple times a day, crying, saying things like, "You've changed since she came into your life. You're no longer my little boy." Yes, Bertha, because he's 32, he's got a mortgage and have facial hair. He's not a child anymore. He doesn't need you. If he does need you, I'm sure he will hop on a call, but he doesn't need you right now, Bertha. He has 2 females in his life that are way more important to his priorities. One being his wife, then his daughter, and then maybe maybe his friends. And then you, because you're a nutcase, Bertha. Anyway. She said the same thing. Bertha, he's 34 and he's got a mortgage. So I laid it out. Either he sets boundaries or I set him free. Ooh. Ooh. He finally saw the light after she showed up to our house one night unannounced with a casserole. Oh my God, this woman is angering me. This is not good for my blood pressure. She showed up to our house unannounced with a casserole and a printed list of marriage tips. Number 1, I kid you not, a son's loyalty should always be to his mother. Do you think Bertha's husband has a good relationship with his mum? Because I'd be very interested to see that. Because if Steve's dad has the relationship with his mum that Steve has, what's the issue? Whereas if Steve's dad is still suckling and breastfeeding on his mum's tit, which is clearly what Bertha wants from this situation, it kind of makes a bit of sense. You understand me? That was the complete last straw. We'd been in therapy since, and Steve finally realises how deep the manipulation has been going. Bertha is currently taking time to heal in a psychiatric ward. Like, where is she? Which apparently means something sending Bible verses about forgiveness. So what do you think I should do here, Tatty? Am I overreacting by getting so upset by this? Or does this woman need a restraining order? I'd throw a casserole at her. I'd start baking her casseroles with threatening messages in them and send her parenting tips. Like a nice chicken casserole with parenting tips. If she thinks that's acceptable, then let's start giving her some feedback, you know? This is my new thing. If people want to give me unsolicited feedback, I'm going to do it to them. I had an argument in my head the other day at a gym. The guy didn't realise we were in an argument. However, we were. Now, here's the thing, ladies. At the gym, when I'm doing the exercises, I'm doing the exercises. I'm going as hard as I possibly can. In these classes, I'm pushing. In between that, say there's a section here, I'm doing press-ups here, I'm doing crunches here. I am not going to exert myself by doing press-ups, then stand up, move my legs 2 feet, and then do crunches here. I'm going to shuffle on my knees. I'm going to do that. It's called working smarter, not harder. This man, his sweaty man, with his stupid little man bun, looks at me and goes, "Someone's not working hard enough." And in my head at that moment, I came up with every single thing I could say back to him. Instead, I just looked at him and laughed in his face. And for the rest of the thing, I was thinking about how I should tell him that his man bun doesn't look good and that his vest, the colour pink, that pink colour does not suit him. It makes him look sickly and ill. I also thought about telling him that his breath smelled the time that he's tried to speak to me before, or that his socks are pulled up a little bit. You know, all these things that were just unwarranted opinions because he felt he could share his thoughts on me. So, you know, anyway, next time, girls, if he says one thing to me, I'm going to get him because I'm prepared. I'm prepared. I believe you and Steve just need to keep in your own lane. Keep going to therapy. That's really good that you're doing that. I'm glad Steve is slowly coming around and understanding these boundaries here. And it is a tough one. He's 34. Let it go, Bertha. She clearly has feelings for her son, and we're just going to have to learn to live with that. Because she can either have Steve in her life with boundaries or not at all. And I'm sure she would rather have the option with the boundaries. So that's that. Anyway, let's go on to our next story. This one is titled, My Neighbour Tried to Get Me Evicted. Story time. So, Tatty, you are not going to believe this. I thought I was living in a normal apartment building with normal people, but apparently I am not. So, a few months ago, I moved into this gorgeous little complex. It's quiet, dog-friendly, it's decent pay, and it was a complete dream. However, my next door neighbour, who we'll call Amy, seemed quite nice at first. She's early 60s, she's always in a little summer dress, and she is watering her plants constantly. She even bought me cookies on my first week, which turned out to be the biggest red flag ever. Within the first 2 weeks, I realised that Bertha was watching me. Not in a friendly, just making you sure you're settling in kind of way. More like she was trying to get to know my schedule better than I did. I'd walk out, grab my mail, and she'd be there, pretending to prune her roses. I'd get home late. 5 minutes later than normal maybe, and I'd see her blinds begin to twitch. It started to get a little creepy. Anyway, I always tried to be polite with Amy, but then one night, around 10 p.m, she bangs on my door. Full on police knock mode. First of all, don't fucking bang on my door at 10 p.m. I'm a female living alone. I'm not answering the door past 6 p.m, right? Get fucked. I open it, I'm still in my pajamas, and she's like, can you keep it down, please? Some of us has work in the morning. Bertha, I was just watching Gossip Girl. I was merely just enjoying a little bit of Gossip Girl. Which would be fair, except I was literally just sitting there alone. This was the start of what I like to call the Amy Chronicles. She'd start complaining to management about imaginary noise and my dangerous dog, who, by the way, is a 9-pound pug, and how I attracted suspicious visitors. This was bought after the time I had a couple of friends round and I ordered Uber Eats. What? It got so bad that the property manager actually emailed me asking if I was hosting parties. I had to send them screenshots of my grocery delivery and my Ring doorbell footage. Like, come on, Susan. The crowd in my living room was just 3 of us eating bags of chips and frozen pizza. So I decided it was time to amp up, and I got more cameras just to protect myself here. This is where it gets completely wild. A week later, I checked the doorbell footage, and there is Amy at 2 a.m. in a robe, dumping a bag of rubbish outside my door. What is this? What are we doing here, Amy? You're 62? Aren't you a bit old for this kind of pettiness? She was literally planting evidence to make it look like I was a complete messy neighbour. So I sent the footage to my management, right? They call her in and she denies everything, says that the video is AI and edited her into the frame. I'm just sitting there like, Amy, you're on camera holding your own monogrammed trash can. But the twist was, after that meeting, she completely disappeared for days. Totally gone. Then one night, I wake up to another banging noise on my door again. Only this time, it's not my door. It's her door. It's the SWAT team. That's literally crazy. Like, she's out here making noise complaints, yet she's the one hammering down doors at night. It was police. Whoa, crazy. Isn't it funny? The call was coming from inside the house. It was police lights outside. There was so much shouting. It was a whole ordeal. Turns out Amy had been stealing packages, not just mine, but half the buildings, and hiding them in her storage closet. Management had tried to evict her, however, she wouldn't go. And I wish I could say, this feels like a little bit of an overreaction for a couple of stolen parcels, right? Oh well, I guess she still got what she deserved. I wish I could say that was the end of it, but 2 weeks later, I got a handwritten note under my door that said, "You shouldn't have crossed me. No return address, no signature. Please tell me honestly now, was I wrong for reporting her, or was I just protecting myself? Part of me still wonders if Amy is out there waiting to make her next move." I think you need to report that letter, because that is a threat. Threat to life. Like, what else is she going to do? Is she actually 62? Or does she not wear SPF? You know, different circumstances there. This is so strange to me. It just baffles me that people will go to so much effort. Have you guys watched The Perfect Neighbour on Netflix? That is so genuinely heartbreaking. And I'll give you a brief rundown of what it's about. Basically, there's this next door neighbor in this community. They're in it's like an estate, like an American estate. And there's like kids like that play in the road and on like communal patches of grass. And she was constantly calling the police like, these kids are trespassing. They're trespassing on my land. It wasn't her land. It was community land. So anyway, they'd get brought out all the time. The police would. And eventually it was escalating. Like she would throw things at the kids. Like I think they threw a rollerblade at her. And the parents were getting more and more upset by this because kids were good kids. And it was quite nice because there's like this group of like 15 kids that are playing out. The police go up to this woman and is like, are these your kids? And she's like, they're not biologically my kids, but they are my kids. And I just think that's such a nice community basis, isn't it? Anyway, this woman ends up shooting one of the parents because this woman, I think was her name Carol? She ended up smashing one of the kids' iPads. So the parent went over and she shot her. She literally shot and killed her. Like, the fuck? And then when she finds out, she just doesn't seem arsed at all. Fuck you, Carol. Can't remember her name. Lisa? I can't remember. Anyway, you should go watch it. It's a good documentary. Craziness. Right, let's find another story, shall we? All right, this next one is titled, Am I the arsehole for not telling my best friend the real reason why I'm not at his wedding? Story time. So I'm 29 and I was supposed to be a groomsman for my best friend as we've been so tight since we were kids. This weekend, he's marrying his fiancée, who I've known since they were dating long distance in high school. At his bachelor party last weekend, we started off at my place and transitioned to bar hopping. And by the end, my best friend was so drunk. And the guys, all of our mutual friends and some of his cousins, were egging him on to do a last kiss before marriage day. What? What is that? This is the problem here. What are we doing? What are we doing here? For extra info, I guess, I'm not a fan of that custom at bachelor or bachelorette's party because I honestly think it makes it all look like you're being held hostage to marry the love of your life. Plus, it's super disrespectful to your partner, but that's just my opinion I have, and each to their own. But I knew my best friend shared that opinion too. Still, I figured if had be, my best friend wouldn't do it because I know how much he loves his fiancée. To my literal shock horror, he turned round. Ah! I did not see this coming. To my literal shock horror, he turned, grabbed my face and kissed me. Not even a dumb peck. Like, he literally dipped me, held me for a few seconds until everyone was laughing obnoxiously. I didn't kiss back. I just froze and laughed it off when it finished. Later, I realised I wasn't having as much fun anymore, so I bailed early, taking some of our drunker friends home with me. What? I mean, listen, maybe he just felt like he had to fulfill the dare and you were the safest option. Does he love you? Does he see you as more than a best friend? Oh my God. The next day, his fiancée texts me on Insta, then on WhatsApp asking if we could talk, and then she called me. She wasn't yelling or anything, but was just kind of awkward. She said she knew about the kiss and that while she didn't love it, she was glad it was me and not some random girl. I think I agree with Amy. She said if he'd kissed another woman, she'd have taken it as cheating and dealt with it even worse. I agreed and backed her by pointing out, saying I would never have encouraged him to do that and I wouldn't have ever allowed it either. But at the same time, she admitted that she didn't feel, what? What? I did not see this coming, guys. But at the same time, she admitted that she didn't feel comfortable with me being at the wedding now either, because it would just be in the back of her head the whole time. I was admittedly stunned at first, and then mad, and then upset, but came to the conclusion that it was her wedding at the end of the day and told her I got it and wouldn't go. She thanked me for understanding, but also asked me not to tell my best friend she was the one who had asked. Oh, no, 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 no. We can't be doing that. It's his wedding day too. What? No, I don't like this at all. It's a week before the wedding as well. I already sent the text backing out, giving reasons regarding work, and my best friend was very upset and asked me if I could go back out in any way. I freelance, by the way, and he knows this, so my lie wasn't a good one, and he went from upset to straight up mad at me for bailing out of his wedding, yet fair. All our mutuals have texted me in our shared wedding group chat and have asked me to reconsider and told me there's no way I'm skipping his wedding for work. I manage myself, I'm going to do whatever I want. Some are being way harsher and some are being passive aggressive, which is all very valid. Now I'm stuck looking like an asshole when I was literally asked not to go. I also asked not to say that I also asked not to say that I was asked not to go. Everyone around me thinks I'm an asshole for prioritizing work over my best friend's wedding, and I honestly don't know how to navigate this without losing people. Oh my God. This is quite awful. I think you have been put in the worst position there. I'd have to tell your mate. Surely. She can't. Listen, we can put this down to. I'm not an advocate for this. It was a joke. I'm sorry. Like, he was just. I would much rather him kiss his best friend than a rando girl. I think he was giving into peer pressure in the best way he could find that wasn't going to hurt people's opinions. The other thing is this was posted 35 days ago, so this wedding has happened now. What? I wonder if there's an update. Should we see? Update! Update. I'm on the arsehole for telling my best friend the real reason I wasn't at his wedding. Hi guys, wedding plus pre-party happened last weekend and I have a few days to process, so here's the update. First off, I found out through bridesmaids messaging me on Instagram why my best friend's fiancée reacted the way she did. As it turns out, it wasn't just about the bachelor party kiss, it was about him in general, which I had guessed enough thanks to some comments. For context, ever since I've known Steve, he's had a history of being impulsive when drunk. I know this is fairly common and I had the same issue in high school, but I learned just to drink less and eventually leveled out, but Steve didn't. Over the years, he's done a bunch of crazy shit, most of which I'd forgotten about and never even knew some of it. The bridesmaids listed examples his fiancée had mentioned, like when he streaked through campus at midnight on a dare. No one pushed him into it, he just kind of wanted to do it. Or when he kissed mutual friends, including me once, during drinking games in high school and many other things, etc. Nothing that counted as cheating so much, but enough of a pattern that he got a reputation for taking jokes and dares too literally. His fiancée, of course, knew about this and it had been a sore point in their relationship early on. So when the kiss with me happened on the bachelor party, she didn't see it as a one-off joke, rather saw it as proof that his old habits weren't gone and she panicked. I fear that's something she needs to bring up with her husband, not you. In her mind, if he could do it in front of everyone, then what else might he do and behind everyone? And because it was me this time, that ever constant part of his life, I became part of the problem. I see the psychology there. Apparently, Steve made things bad from the get-go when he got back from the party as he walked into the hotel room with her and her mum there and blurted out this whole story very obnoxiously. That pissed her off and made her mum, who apparently was pretty conservative, really uncomfortable. According to the bridesmaid, her mum has clashed with Steve before, and this was the last thing she wanted to see before her daughter's wedding. That same night, the fiancé and her mum talked, and her mum was the one that pushed the idea that I should quietly back out. Why is the blame being placed? The blame is in the complete wrong place here. She basically told her that it would look bad to have me standing there, having known that he had kissed. Is this it? Is this a homophobia thing? I fear it might be. In the end, I did go to the pre-party and the wedding, but went fast. It both went fast but well and very beautifully. The part that really did unexpectedly hurt me was after regarding the honeymoon. Many months before I had suggested this one destination I had gone to on vacay when I was way younger. And back then they both seemed very excited and even asked me for hotel and restaurant recommendations and prep. After the wedding, I asked Steve when they were leaving and he kind of hesitated before saying they changed plans to somewhere completely different. I was very surprised, to be honest, but we just laughed it off and closed it up. With more thought given, I realised it's another way of cutting out my influence and icing me out. Yeah. Now that it's been a few days, I've driven home. I have just conceded. While I'm glad I went, I'm not very hopeful for our friendship being the same. I love Steve dearly, and I really do love his wife too, and I understand why things turned out the way they did, but I wish it hadn't fucking been this way. Drama is very fucking fun to dive into when it isn't about you. True. Is that not the reason we're all here? I do want to clear things up, though, that the blame is on Steve. While I don't think I deserve to be put in the position, I also believe that his wife and her mum tried their best to treat me fairly, even when it was hard for them. I do also forgive them and hope to move forward, even if the friendship had been with them for 20 years. Oh. I really don't believe that anyone is to blame here other than Steve. What? It's not right. Like, you should have been stood next to your best friend at that wedding. Boys do way worse to each other. Look at that guy that sucked his friend's dick a few weeks ago. Like, what? You can't be doing shit like that. Anyway, I'm really sad that you were in that position, and I am glad that you did go to your friend's wedding and you got to see that, because I think that's an important part. And you would have, like you said, felt really guilty if you hadn't been there, or you'd have missed out. So I'm really glad you got to go. Should we do one more before we close out for the day? All right, I love reading these ones because it's just a completely different perspective. It is titled, I'm the Other Woman in an Older Man's Marriage. Story time. Woo! So, to begin, I am 27. I'm a bartender in a holiday town. A few weeks ago, I had a customer come in alone who was pretty shy at first. He was older than me. I would later find out that he was in his 40s, and I thought he was incredibly handsome. I chat to all my customers, but eventually it slowed down to a point where he was the only one at the bar for a bit. So we got to talking, and we hit it off pretty fast. So, he explained that he was there in the area on a work trip. It's always a fucking work trip. And while I didn't have any specifics that would identify him, I found his profession to be really endearing, as he told me that he was working with disabled children. We got to know each other throughout my shift, and he gave me his number before he left for the night. I texted him the following morning, and we got to chatting pretty regularly. He came in again during my next shift, and afterwards texted me to ask if we'd like to go out to grab some drinks somewhere. Though I wanted to, I had a flight for a wedding the next morning, so I needed to pack for work, so I declined. A day or two after I returned from the wedding, he let me know he was back in the area for work. Is he actually there for work? Or does he just live there? So I met up with him for work one night, for drinks one night after work. Our texting up until this moment was vaguely flirty, but neither of us had ever admitted outright that we were attracted to one another. So whether this was a date or not was completely unknown. I've never been in a situation like this where I was interested in someone 15 years older than me. At some point during our night together, I asked if he was divorced, since it was hard for him to believe that he'd never married. It was hard for me to believe that he had never been married before at this age, looking the way he did. He told me yes, he'd been married and divorced before to a woman he'd been with over a decade. He made no mention of being with anyone else currently or being in any sort of open relationship. Throughout our time together, we got more and more flirty, and eventually I admitted that I hoped this was a date and that I was attracted to him. He let me know that the feeling was definitely mutual, and at the end of the day, I asked to kiss him, to which he said yes. Girl power! We kissed, and he asked if I could come back to his hotel room with him because I had the class the next morning. I had to politely decline, never mind. Even though I wanted to say yes completely, we ended up going our separate ways. And ever since that night, we have been texting pretty much every day. Our conversations are getting more and more progressively suggestive. And though it didn't turn into full sexting, it got pretty close. I was becoming way, way more interested in him and really looking forward to the next time he'd be in my town. So I could finally take him up on that offer of going to his hotel. I noticed that while he seemed to enjoy texting me, he didn't ask me many questions about myself, like I would ask questions about him. He told me a little about his life and his dogs, and that the next time he'd be in town, he'd be bringing them with him. Out of curiosity, I asked who watched the dogs while he was on his work trips. Yes, that's a good question. He said friends watched them. I mentioned that maybe I could come and visit him in his town at some point, since it wasn't that far away. But he said that he wouldn't have to drive to see me or arrange you said you'd go to him, that way he wouldn't have to drive to see me or arrange for the dog care. His exact response was, we could certainly make that work. That's when I got this gut feeling that wouldn't go away. It literally kept me awake up until I pulled my phone out and started to do some investigating. That's really interesting, because if he was really defensive, that would be more of a red flag, you know? So I didn't know his last name, but I knew his first and where he worked, so I Googled that. I found him pretty quick. And once I learned his last name, I looked him up on Facebook. I found his profile almost immediately, along with, you guessed it, his wife's. I sat up in bed and just stared at it for a few minutes. The pictures from their wedding were posted just a few days over a year ago. Fresh marriage. Oh my God. Meaning he was texting me about all the places he wanted to kiss me during their first anniversary. There's a lot I have to be grateful for here. I never slept with him, and I found out who he really was only after a few weeks. Based on what he told me about his job, his childhood, his love of dogs, I truly thought he was a sweet, honest guy. They always do. Usually I'm very good at picking up on when people are lying, as I've been gaslit and manipulated in romantic relationships before. I know this is how every Reddit post goes and the nature goes, but with him, I really believed everything that he said. It was only that one little slip over text that gave him away. Now, I have his wife's Facebook account. I know I need to tell her. I was never looking for exclusivity with this man, and honestly, I don't have the time for it, but I refuse to be another woman. His wife deserves to know what's been going on. I know if I was her, I'd want to know too. I've already started screenshotting my conversations with him as proof. I guess I'm posting on Reddit right now because I need assistance with the execution of it all. I really am not a malicious person, and if I feel any anger at all, it's not on the wife's behalf. Yeah. Oh, it's on the wife's behalf. Yeah. I don't want to destroy his life, mostly because that would probably just end up hurting her too. So what's the best way to tell her that her husband has been stepping out of her relationship and into me? I don't think this is his first offense. I think you just need to get it out there, and honestly, and maybe, you know, if you don't live that far from him and his hometown, I would maybe offer to go for coffee and like sit in person so she can answer any questions. And why doesn't she come to your bar? See, there's so many places we can go with this. Like, you can go so petty with it, and she could come to the bar that you work at and sit there and wait while Steve is coming on his work trip or whatever. Or you could just like take the realistic route, send her a couple of messages that sort of give her a gist, and then offer to call. It's obviously you had no idea. He only gave you the smallest little bits of information that you needed from him to create your own idea of the person that he was, and you did that, and that's not your fault. You can rectify this and do the right thing, which it sounds like you're ready to do. But yeah, God, what an awful thing. I'm so glad you didn't sleep with this ugly man. Ew. Also to lie about being divorced as well. Psh, what a pig. What a pig rat, man. Anyway, we're going to close out the episode there, guys. Thank you so much for watching or listening today. It's always a pleasure. Remember to enter the giveaway. Head over to my socials, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Please fill my cup. Am I really asking for much? It's been a long week, I'm looking for fun. Please fill my cup. Find me under the sun. SOS, I'm just looking for a good time. Oh, 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 oh. And I'm singing like, whoa.